everyone, welcome to Watercolor Wednesday. I'm Bonnie Krebs, creator of Watercolor the Art Impressions Way, and today we're going to do another project from Project Series 6. I had a request last week to do the stone bridge that comes in this project. This is Project 6, and I had a request to do the stone bridge. So I also had another request for the fencing. So we're going to continue on this theme of Project Series 6, and I thought I'm just going to do that fencing and add the cottage that goes with it. So that's going to be our project for this week. And I put those two together and you can see it makes this cute little painting. So I'm going to show you how to do this. So what we're going to need in addition to Project Series 6, the cottage and the fencing is we're going to need something from the foliage set. So we're going to use the vine and the small grass. So these two items from the foliage set. And then we're also going to use the tiny little filler flower that comes from the birdhouse. Now, if you don't have this set, you can use the filler flower from the foliage or the flower set. So this one right here, you can use that. This one is a little smaller and seems to work a little better, but up to you. Okay, they're both going to work. Okay, so we're going to use those stamps in addition to Project Series 6. Okay, so let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is ink the cottage. So this is the little English cottage, and we're going to ink that whole thing in the sepia. So I'm just going to get this color on here. This is sepia number 45. And I'm just going to ink this whole thing. And if you look at the sample, there's a lot of foliage and flowers coming on top of the roof here. So I want to take some of this line out. And really the easiest way to do it is just get your hands dirty and just take this off. This is what I do. I find it's easier than just coloring the sections that I want. So I'm also going to put a lot of foliage on the sides. So I'm going to rub off a little bit of this as well. Okay, so now I'm going to stamp it in the center of the watercolor paper. There we go, and we've got that image. And I've still got a little bit of a line here, but that's okay. We're not going to see very much of that. So the first step then is going to be to dip our brush in water and pull the color out of the lines. And let's start with the roof, because you see these two lines here? This roof has a bend in it. And actually it's sort of a flowing S shape here. So this top part here, that's going to be the lightest area. That's closest to the top. So that means the color is going to drag to the left. You see where these lines are? We're going to drag that color to the left because this is where the darkest area is going to be. And you can see how that roof starts to have contour already. So we're going to drag some of this color over as well. Remember to keep the top part open. We can color in these little decorative wood planks here. The windows have decorative boards underneath them, so we can pull some of that color out as well. I want to get the chimneys. And then back in here underneath where the roof is, we're going to come back in again with that, but that's going to be really dark under here. Same under here. This is an overlap, and this area under here is going to be really dark. So you can see the roof is starting to take contour already, and we're going to add some more color to that later, but we just want to get the basic color on here. So let's go on to the rest of the roof here, this little part right here. And then inside where the doorway is, that's going to be really dark as well. We can get the stoop, and we're just about finished doing this part. Okay, let's go on to the next thing. Let's put the flowers and the foliage in now. And you can see on this sample, I've got this whole roof pretty much covered in flowers and foliage. It's so fun to do that. And when you think about an English cottage, I just think of it as just surrounded by flowers and blooms and greenery and just loaded with color. So let's do that. So we're going to start by inking the vine. And I've just put it on a clear block here, and I'm using the number 15. And I'm just going to use a small part of it because this goes way back in the background. So we just need a little bit of this. And we're just going to do it again in a sequence of 5 if we can. Bring some down onto the roof, just like this. Some more back here. We can add some more to the side. Remember, just get this in here at least, 4 or 5 times. That's going to give us that dimension that we're looking for. We can put a few more in here, like so. Actually, let's just add a couple more here in the front. Okay, so now let's put the flowers in. And here's that little tiny filler flower. Put that on my block. And I'm just going to use my magenta. So we're going to use a bright color. And I'm only going to use a few because, again, this is way back in the background, way up on top of the roof. So we only need a few. If you can see that, I've only colored just a few of those blooms. And we're just going to walk it around. Ink it again. And just walk it around. And just kind of fill up this roof. Over here on the side, we're just going to add lots of color. And see, I'm inking it, I'm stamping it at least 4 or 5 times every time. Down in here, in the front. And over on this side. I just keep inking it and stamping it. A little more back here. And it looks like we've got lots of color on this roof, which is what we want. Okay? It looks a little messy, but that's the way it's supposed to look. Never give up if you think it looks too messy because it's going to all come together, I promise. Okay, let's start with the green. So we're going to start by dabbing the green. And you can see this is all going to start to blend together. Remember, no brush strokes, no circular motion. We're just dabbing. And the color will just come out. It's amazing what the water does when you start adding it to these images. It just kind of pops that color right out. And it starts looking like a little painting. Okay, so we're getting this all in here. We got our foliage in, so let's go to the pink. And remember, just dab all these little areas, and you can see the pink really starts to pop out. You're just kind of getting all these little flowers, and you're going to get a lot of three-dimensional imagery in here too, because the dark colors, they'll come forward and the light will go back. And it just kind of works. It's like magic. And all the little structures, they kind of all work the same way. You can do the same thing with any of them. Add the foliage and the flowers just over, cascading over the top. Okay, just take your time on this. You don't have to hurry. It's going to dry immediately, but you can always come back in and just dab. I'm actually just pouncing my brush, and you can see my hand is flat on the table, kind of like I'm going to write. And I'm using the side of the brush. You can pull some of this color out too from the roof. That adds a little more contrast and background. And we're starting to see it come together here. The more you blend this, the softer it's going to get. So you can just keep going and just blend this color all the way out. So cute. Okay, let's do something now with the windows. So we're going to take the number 29, and I'm just going to color a bit of this color onto my palette. And I'm just going to brush in the windows here. Just fill this in. These windows in the back. These back here on the side are going to be darker, but we can add more color to those. It's a process, because the more times we lay color on, the darker it's going to get. So you can see how that second time around is adding more color. And this is a little window here into the doorway. There we go. Adding a little more color in here now. And let's dip our brush. Now let's add some more color to the roof. Our roof is looking a little sparse. So I'm adding some sepia onto my palette, and I'm just going to dip my brush and add some water now to the roof. And remember where the darkest areas are. Down in here, and just sweep this color over. Remember the tops of these, the tops of the roof here where this bend is, that's going to be the lightest. So you want to make sure you don't add any color to that at all, as well as the very top of the roof. And remember this side in here, this little area, that's really, really dark. So you can bring this all the way up. Bring this all the way up. And you can see how that's giving more contrast to the roof. Okay, let's add a little bit more color to the chimney. On the side here. Let's add a little more to this roof line. And inside this doorway. This would be really, really dark in here. And I'm going to take my fine tip now on that 45. I'm going to make a little window pane in here, just for some interest and something a little different. I'd take my fine tip and really darken this under here too. Remember, where you can make things really dark to light, that's going to add a lot of contrast. So that dark, dark to light, light is going to add a lot of depth. So do that if you can. See, back in here, this is really, really dark underneath this roof. And don't be afraid to use your fine tip. See how that's popping it out? So now let's take a little of that color now, and let's drag it down, because this little structure is white, but it's kind of an antique white. It's very old, and it's sitting back in the shadows, so it's going to look really rustic. So we're going to drag some of this sepia out. Okay, let's add some more color. This is the number 86. And we're going to add a little of this to the side of the house. This is where the shadow would be. So we're just going to brush on a little of this color. This is just going to get darker back here. So we want to put some of this color back in here, in the shadows. Don't be afraid to do this. You will get braver and braver anyway. And take some of this and just follow this roof line with this blue. This is going to add a lot as well. This is going to pop that roof right up over the tops of these windows. So we're just adding a little shadow in here and underneath these boards. These little things, they really make a difference if you just take your time and do it, and don't be afraid to. You'll be amazed at how much difference it makes. Okay, so we've got our little shadow underneath there. You can see it's coming together. Let's add some color to the door. This is the number 15. And I'm just going to brush this color on. So I have a bright green door. Adding a little more color here. Looks pretty good. So let's come in now with our grasses, because you can see that the flowers look like they're floating a little bit. So we don't want to have that. So the grasses always cement everything down. So let's take our little grass now. This is the tiny one from the foliage set. Put that on the block. And the grass is just going to come in underneath the flowers. So you just walk it along. You can go about 4 or 5 times, and then you need to re-ink it, but you want to go at least that many times. So you just come right in here underneath these little pink flowers. You could bring this out a little bit as well, create a little path here, and just come underneath the flowers. So cute. And so fun. And it just sort of finishes everything off. I'm always amazed when I add the flowers how much difference it makes. Okay, and then just pull this up. Remember the brush stroke on the grass? Pull that color up. And it's okay if it gets into the pink. Just pull it up. It's going to look way more natural when you do that. We can add a little more grass in here. Just pull some of this color out. We can add a little walkway. This in here on the side would be really dark as well. Okay, so let's add the fence. This is one side of the fencing. There's two sides, one for each side. I'm just going to use one of them. Put it on the block here like this, and I'm going to use the sepia and ink this whole thing. Make sure you get enough ink on this. You want to really make sure you get enough ink on here. And then we're going to stamp it right next to the house, a little cottage. Add our water to it. So just stroke that color down. You don't have to do anything with these small posts or planks. Just do the main ones, just like that. And now we're going to add some flowers to this. So we're going to use the number 29. This warm blue, number 29, and we're going to ink the little flowers again. So we're going to put these back on our little block here. Now remember, we're only going to use a few. We're still in the background, so we're going to use a few, and we're going to stamp right behind this. So again, in a sequence, and you can stamp right over the top of this fence. You could put some back in here, kind of continue this blue back in here. You could add a little more over here, just wherever you want to. You could even put a few in here by the house. And once that's finished, add the water. See how that blue will just pop out. The light kind of fades back, the dark comes forward, just does its thing. And you won't get any smearing with this sepia in the fence. This area back here. And these blue flowers back here. And you can see we're starting to finish up. Okay, looking good. We just need to add some grasses underneath the fence, underneath here, so that we don't have a floating fence, but that's easy to do. We're just going to ink the grass now and just walk it right along the fence. This is the easiest thing to do. Just stamp right over the fence. Don't worry about it. Just stamp right over the top. And then add the water, and see, stroke it right up over the top of the fence. You can pull this color down into the green if you want to, and pull some of this green over. You could take some of this blue now and drag it into the sky if you want to make a little sky back here. So cute. One more detail. Let's take the fine tip of the magenta. This is a really fun thing to do too. Add some little dots in here where your flowers are. It'll add a lot more dimension. Just some little pink centers. Just make a few dots in here. I hope you can see this on the video because it really does add a lot. Add a few out here as well. And we are about finished. One more important thing, sign. Sign and date. And there you go, our little English cottage. I hope you enjoyed that. Try it. You're going to love doing this project. And thanks so much for watching. See you next week.